Happy Friday morning to you. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks, today I want to talk about lease purchases and being a glorified company driver. Now, along the way in my 27 years of driving, about 20 years of it doing lease purchase type situations. Maybe not that long, because I've owned a few trucks. I've always been accused of being a company driver, and just a glorified company driver. And in this video, I felt like it might be a good opportunity to talk about what that is, if I am one, if I've ever been one, and things like that. So also, some of you is missing the music. I'm going to cue that up and let you hear it, and then we'll jump right into it. But before we do, give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. All right, folks, here's the music, and here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round, for my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. This is why I do this.
Okay, so let's talk about what it means when you're a glorified company driver, and then let's go ahead and look at some of the places I've worked and if I felt like I was a glorified company driver. And then we'll of course talk about B&Z Logistics, where I am now, and if I feel like I'm a glorified company driver here. And my answers may surprise you. So basically, a glorified company driver is someone that, in my opinion, and this is all subjective, that doesn't have a whole lot of say-so in the business operations of their company or their truck. Typically, I believe it's someone who is dispatched, so they don't have a lot of control over their route. In some situations, they're told where to fuel, how much fuel. In some cases, it's forced dispatch, meaning you can't say no to loads. Even situations where they say, hey, you got to stay out 2 or 3 weeks before you can go home, or you got to stay out a month before you can go home. All of those are treatments that a company driver would receive, and an owner-operator or a lease operator should not receive, but often do. Now, as I prefer to stick with recent history, we could go further back, but let's go all the way back to where most of you found me, or where a lot of you found me, Roadrunner. Roadrunner, I picked where I fueled. I picked my own loads. Oftentimes, they would call me with multiple choice, and I'd say, yeah, I'd like to do this one. Now, it was a little different. It was terminal to terminal. And so definitely I felt like I was not a glorified company driver there. Moving on to Dart. Dart, I was on their OPI board, which it's my understanding they don't even offer that anymore. I was definitely not a glorified company driver there. I picked where I fueled. I picked my own loads off the load board. And so I was definitely not a glorified company driver at Dart. Swift, I was a hybrid, and what I mean by that is they did dispatch me on some, and I did pick some off of their load board. I was beta tester for their load board, along with I think like 30 other people. Even the loads they dispatched me on, though, I had a lot of input on where I went, what I did. I used their fuel card and my fuel card, the Yes Advantage fuel card. I'm gonna do a video about it before too long, and you can. There was a car going by real slow, and you can see for yourselves that that I save a lot of money with that card, and you can as well. There's also a link in the description of this video if you'd like to learn more about that fuel card. Leaving Swift, I went to F2F, bought my own truck, paid cash for it. At F2F, I picked my own loads off the spot market, bought my fuel where I wanted. It was my own truck. I'd actually purchased the truck for cash from a viewer. And so I was definitely an owner-operator there and not just a glorified company driver. Next, I went to Scott and drove for him until I was medically unable to drive for him anymore. And same thing, ran the spot market, picked my own loads. Started off in my own truck that I bought from a dealer. And then from there, when that truck went kaput, bought a truck on a lease purchase through Scott and drove that truck until I became medically disqualified to drive. Now, we probably should talk about this at this point. What are my recommendations? And then we'll get to where I'm at now at B&Z Logistics. I'm going to always recommend that you purchase a truck yourself, especially now. In this market, there's a lot of dealerships that will work with less than perfect credit. You're going to need $2,500 to say $10,000 down. There's a lot around the $5,000 down mark, and you should be able to save that money and do that. If you're not, then you're probably not ready. You actually need to have more than that so that you're ready for a breakdown. How much more than that? I would say the more you can get, the better off you are. It's kind of like, I've used this analogy before. If you start playing Monopoly with $500, the board game Monopoly, and the guy beside you starts playing with $5,000, the guy with the $5,000 is going to win. And same thing here in trucking. The more money you can start your business with, the more likely you are to be successful. Now, is there ever a time to do a lease purchase? Almost never, but there are a few times. Let's take my situation, for example. When I came to B&Z Logistics, I needed the training wheels, and lease purchase is like training wheels for a bicycle. I had been out for a while, about 6 months, actually closer to 7 months, and I needed the training wheels. I needed to kind of, you know how when you get in a swimming pool and the water's really cold, some people ease in and they freeze to death, and some people just jump in. In my particular case, I needed to ease into the water. And so when I came to B&Z, I knew that I was going to be a glorified company driver. I knew that I was going to be dispatched. I knew that they let me fuel where I want. They give you a fuel card. I can use it or mine. That doesn't matter. I knew that a lot of things were going to be controlled for me, and I was okay with that because in my case, I wanted to ease back into the swimming pool instead of jumping in. Now, having said that, I've known since day one, and I'm sure they know as well, at some point, and it's probably not going to be very far in the future, hint, hint, I'm going to buy a truck. Not a lease purchase. I'm going to purchase a truck. Now, that does not mean I'm going to quit B&Z. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay here either. B&Z would allow me to bring on a truck here. I would make approximately 5% more per load, and so there are some advantages to bringing a truck here. But you guys know what kind of an experience I had with SRO Logistics, and that's always in the back of my mind as well. And so I've also seen some other YouTubers commenting that they feel like I don't like B&Z. I want to clear up a couple of things there before I wrap this video up. My phone's overheating, so I hope I can get through this. They've been great to me. The money started off really good. The last week or two hadn't been as great. But they've been great. They did call and apologize for that fiasco about the contract. They claimed that they did not say what that lady told me that they said. She said they spoke out on their behalf and they were going to have a talk with her about it. So they, from the owner's perspective, and I talked to both of them, they do not recall saying that if I didn't sign the new contract, I could just bring the truck back. They did remind me that it is a walkaway lease. I could get out of this contract at any time. And they did remind me that they could get out of it at any time. But they expressed that they enjoyed working with me and hoped I'd stay a long time. So from a personnel standpoint, they've been great to work with. As I said in that 3-week review video, dispatch, they're having trouble keeping me loaded and running. Even now as I'm filming this video, I'm sitting waiting for a load. And so hopefully they'll get me something quick, but I'm not hating it here. It's not terrible here. It's by far not the worst place I've ever worked, but I would say it's average or above average. And so that's all I got for today. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll catch you on the next video. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.